When 76-year-old Martha lost her husband 2 winters ago, the house suddenly felt enormous. Every sound seemed louder, the creak of the floor, the ticking of the old clock, even the hum of the refrigerator at night. Morning coffee tasted different too. She still set out 2 mugs out of habit, then quietly put one back in the cupboard. Friends called and neighbors stopped by, but when the front door closed again, silence returned. One rainy afternoon, while sorting old photos, Martha found herself staring at a picture of her and her husband laughing on a picnic blanket. Something about that image stirred her heart, not sadness this time, but warmth. She poured herself a fresh cup of coffee, opened the window just enough to smell the rain, and put on their favorite jazz record. Within minutes, the house didn't feel so empty anymore. "That's strange," she whispered, smiling through tears. "All I did was make coffee and listen to music." That moment taught Martha something powerful. Joy doesn't always come from big events. Sometimes it hides inside the smallest rituals: a familiar song, a warm blanket, the smell of rain. She began collecting those little comforts the way some people collect seashells, noticing how each one quietly lifted her spirit. Life hadn't changed dramatically, but her days began to feel softer, lighter. Still, it wasn't easy. Many older adults like Martha know that some days just feel heavier than others. Maybe it's the loneliness that creeps in after the kids leave, or the frustration of a body that doesn't move like it used to. For many, mornings feel long and nights even longer. It's easy to believe that the spark that once colored life has dimmed for good. Martha often caught herself thinking, maybe joy just belongs to the young. She scrolled through the news, felt overwhelmed, and sometimes spent entire afternoons watching the clock instead of the sunset. But here's what changed everything. One Sunday morning, she visited a small park near her home. She saw an older man tossing breadcrumbs to a cluster of ducks, laughing as they waddled toward him. He looked utterly content, nothing fancy, just at peace. Something clicked for Martha in that moment. If he can feel that, she thought, so can I. She sat on the same bench, closed her eyes, and listened to the laughter of children, to the splash of ducks, to the sound of life moving all around her. When she opened her eyes, she realized she was smiling for the first time in days. That was the beginning of her quiet transformation. Instead of searching for happiness in grand adventures, she started paying attention to small, everyday joys, the kind that can lift a weary heart even on hard days. These moments didn't erase her grief, but they gave her energy, connection, and peace. In today's video, we'll explore 7 small joys that instantly lift senior spirits, inspired by real people like Martha, who found light in simple things. These aren't quick fixes or shallow tips. They're genuine, heartwarming reminders that joy is always waiting, even on the hardest days. If you find this message comforting, please hit the like button, subscribe to Senior Ways, and share this video with someone who could use a little warmth today. And in the comments, tell us, what's one small thing that makes you smile when life feels heavy? Your story might brighten someone else's day too. Lesson 1. The joy of morning light. When 80-year-old Walter moved into his retirement apartment, he closed his curtains almost all the time. "I don't sleep well," he used to say so. "Mornings just make me tired." His daughter visited one morning and gently opened the blinds. The sunlight spilled into the room, touching the walls, his chair, and his face. He squinted, but then his shoulders dropped and he sighed. "I forgot how nice this feels." The next day he tried something different. Before reaching for his phone or turning on the TV, he opened the curtains himself. He sat quietly with his coffee, letting the soft morning light warm his skin. After a few minutes, he noticed something surprising. His mood had lifted even before breakfast. That simple act of greeting the day began changing everything. Science explains why. Sunlight triggers the release of serotonin, the feel-good hormone that helps improve mood and focus. It also helps reset our internal clock, which becomes less precise as we age. For seniors like Walter, a few minutes of morning light can ease feelings of fatigue, improve sleep patterns, and even reduce symptoms of mild depression. But the beauty of it isn't just biological, it's emotional. Walter now calls this his morning hello. Every day he sits by the window, watches the sky change colors, and whispers a quiet thank you for for another day of life. It doesn't matter if it's cloudy, he says. There's always light somewhere. What began as a small adjustment became a daily reminder that each new morning still holds promise. Lesson 2: the comfort of familiar sounds. 77-year-old Dolores once told her granddaughter that she missed the sound of life. After retiring, she realized how quiet her house had become. The television felt like noise, not company. But one evening, while baking cookies, she turned on an old radio she found in the attic. A local jazz station was playing smooth, soft, and nostalgic. She hummed along, and for a moment she felt like she was back in her 30s, dancing in the kitchen with her husband. Sound has an incredible way of connecting us to emotion. Music, bird song, or even the rustle of leaves outside can calm the nervous system and awaken memories. Studies have shown that listening to music from one's younger years increases dopamine, the brain's natural mood booster, and strengthens feelings of identity and continuity. For seniors, it's not just entertainment, it's emotional medicine. Dolores began playing her radio every evening while cooking or reading. The soft background noise filled her home with life again. She even started creating sound rituals, jazz on Tuesdays, classical music on weekends, and gospel on Sunday mornings. "My house doesn't feel empty anymore," she says. "It feels alive." And it's not just about music. The familiar sound of a loved one's voice, wind chimes outside, or a pet's gentle breathing can all lift the spirit in subtle but profound ways. These sounds remind us that the world is still vibrant and that we are part of it. So if you ever feel the silence pressing in too hard, try adding a little sound back into your day, not to distract yourself, but to reconnect. Like Dolores, you might find that the right melody or the rhythm of rain can turn an ordinary moment into something quietly beautiful. Lesson 3: the healing power of touch. When 79-year-old Jean started volunteering at a local animal shelter, she thought she was helping the dogs. What she didn't realize was how much they were helping her. Every morning when she arrived, a little terrier named Max would run to her, wagging his tail so hard it looked like he might lift off the ground. The first time she bent down to pet him, she felt something she hadn't felt in years: connection. "That tiny heartbeat under my hand," she said, "it reminded me that love doesn't disappear. It just changes form." Human beings are wired for touch. Gentle physical contact, a hug, a pat on the hand, even holding a warm cup of tea triggers oxytocin, the bonding hormone that reduces stress and boosts feelings of safety. But as people age, opportunities for touch often decrease. Children grow up, friends move away, and physical closeness becomes rare. That lack of contact can quietly deepen loneliness. Jean's time at the shelter changed that. The simple act of brushing a dog's fur or sitting with a cat on her lap gave her comfort that words couldn't. "It's funny," she said. "They don't say a thing, but they always know when you need love." You don't need to work at a shelter to feel that healing touch. Petting your own dog or cat, giving a loved one a hug, or even wrapping yourself in a soft blanket can calm the body and spirit. Touch reminds you that you're still connected to life, to others, to warmth. It's a quiet language that says, "You're here and you matter." Lesson 4: the joy of purposeful movement. When 80-year-old Leonard stopped gardening after back pain flared up, he noticed something unexpected. It wasn't just his body that stiffened, it was his mood. He felt restless, unmotivated, and tired all the time. His doctor suggested gentle movement, a few stretches, slow walks, or light chair exercises. Leonard rolled his eyes at first. "I'm not trying to win a marathon," he joked, but he gave it a try. The first week, he walked to the end of his driveway and back. The next, he made it around the block. By the third week, he was pulling weeds in his garden again. Something incredible happened. His energy came back. His back didn't hurt as much, his appetite improved, and he started sleeping better. "I didn't just move my body," he said. "I moved my spirit." Science backs him up. Movement increases blood flow and releases endorphins, natural chemicals that elevate mood and reduce pain. Even small movements like standing up every half hour or stretching your arms signal to your body, "We're still active, we're still alive." For seniors, the key isn't intensity, but consistency. Leonard's favorite part came later. His grandchildren started joining him in the garden, helping him plant tomatoes and flowers. "They think they're helping me," he laughed, "but really they're keeping me young." Movement reconnected him to joy, to family, and to life outdoors. So whether it's a short stroll, slow dancing to a favorite song, or simply tending to plants on your porch, remember, movement is not punishment. It's a celebration. Every step you take, no matter how small, tells your body and heart that you're still growing, still here, still capable, still beautifully alive. Lesson 5. The joy of giving, even in small ways. 78-year-old Carol always said she wasn't a volunteer type. But when her neighbor's daughter had surgery, she decided to drop off a pot of homemade chicken soup. A few days later, the neighbor left a thank you card at her door with a simple note, "You made my week a little easier." Carol read that line 3 times. "I didn't realize something so small could mean that much," she said. That moment became her new rhythm. Once a week, she found someone to help. Sometimes it was baking cookies for the community center, sometimes writing cheerful notes to nursing home residents. She began to notice a change in herself. The days felt lighter, she said. I had something to look forward to. Giving releases dopamine and endorphins, chemicals that create what psychologists call the helper's high. It doesn't take grand gestures or large donations. Even a phone call to check on someone, a smile to a stranger, or watering a neighbor's plants can create genuine happiness. For seniors, these small acts replace the sense of being needed that often fades after retirement. Carol once said, "When I stopped focusing on what I'd lost and started giving what I still had time, kindness loved my days, stopped feeling empty." That's the secret of generosity. It not only helps others, it gently restores your own joy. Lesson 6. The beauty of nature's reminders. When 77-year-old Frank lost his wife, he couldn't bear to stay indoors. The walls held too many memories, he said, so he began walking to a nearby lake every afternoon. At first, it was just for distraction, but one day he stopped to watch a small bird building a nest in a tree. He stood there for 10 minutes completely still, watching it fly back and forth with bits of grass and twigs. "It hit me," he said quietly. "Life keeps going, even when it hurts." Nature has a way of whispering hope. The sound of rain, the scent of pine, the sight of flowers opening at dawn, they remind us that life renews itself again and again. Psychologists call this soft fascination, when your mind rests while your senses stay awake. It's healing without effort. Frank's walks became his daily therapy. "I don't rush anymore," he said. "I just watch. Every bird, every wave on the water, it all feels like a message that I'm still part of something bigger." That feeling of connection to the world around you is one of the most powerful antidotes to sadness. Even 5 minutes outdoors, sitting on a porch, watering plants, or watching the sunset can shift the emotional tone of a whole day. Frank says, you don't have to look for miracles. The miracle is that the sun still rises, and so do we. Lesson 7. The power of memory and gratitude. On her 80th birthday, Eleanor decided to start a new ritual. Every evening before bed, she opened a small notebook and wrote down one thing that made her smile that day. Some days it was big, like her granddaughter's visit. Other days it was something tiny, "My soup turned out perfect," or "The neighbor's baby waved at me." Within weeks, her little gratitude notebook began filling up. One night, after a particularly hard day, she flipped through the pages and began to laugh. "I thought I had a bad week," she said, "but look at all these good moments I forgot." Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it reframes it. It reminds us that beauty still exists alongside the struggle. Studies from Harvard show that daily gratitude journaling increases happiness, reduces anxiety, and improves sleep, especially in older adults. But beyond the science, it's the practice of noticing that changes everything. Eleanor says, "When I write down something good, I feel like I'm saving sunshine for later." That's exactly what gratitude is, storing light for darker days. Final thoughts. So if today feels heavy, remember Martha's lesson. Joy doesn't come from big things. It hides in the smallest moments: the first light of morning, the sound of music, the warmth of touch, the rhythm of movement, the kindness of giving, the peace of nature, and the quiet power of gratitude. Each one is a doorway back to yourself. These 7 small joys don't demand youth, money, or perfect health. They only ask for presence, the willingness to notice what's still beautiful. because even on hard days, life continues to offer little gifts to those who keep their hearts open. If this video brought you comfort, please tap the like button, subscribe to Senior Ways, and share it with someone who could use a little light today. And in the comments, tell us, what's one small joy that lifts your spirit when you're feeling low? Your answer might brighten someone else's world, because sometimes the smallest joys shine the brightest.